Emma Sullivan was born in 1975 to a middle-class family in Boston, Massachusetts. From childhood, she displayed remarkable intelligence and determination. Her parents, both high school teachers, fostered her love for learning and instilled a strong work ethic that would shape her future. Marcus Chen, born in 1970, came from a family of old money and connections. Despite his privileged background, he was driven to make his own mark on the world, away from his family's shadow. Their paths intersected at a finance conference in New York City in 1997. Emma, fresh from completing her MBA at Yale, caught Marcus's attention with her sharp insights during a panel discussion. Marcus, already making waves in the investment banking world, was equally impressed by her ambition and intellect. Their relationship blossomed quickly, moving from professional admiration to personal connection. Within a year, they were married in a lavish ceremony that became the talk of Boston's social circles. The newlyweds settled in the affluent suburb of Brookline, where they founded Chen Consulting Group, with Marcus as CEO and Emma as CFO. The early years of their marriage were marked by tremendous success. Chen Consulting Group rapidly expanded, attracting high-profile clients with their innovative approach to financial technology. Emma and Marcus worked seamlessly together, their complementary skills driving the company to new heights. They became fixtures in Boston's elite social scene, known for their philanthropic efforts and glamorous parties. To outsiders, the Chens appeared to have a perfect life, a thriving business, a beautiful home, and a strong partnership. However, as their company approached its 5th anniversary, subtle changes began to appear in their relationship. Marcus started spending more time at the office, his explanations for late nights growing increasingly vague. Emma, always perceptive, noticed the shift in his behavior, but initially attributed it to the stresses of running their expanding business. As months passed, Emma's suspicions grew. She observed Marcus becoming more guarded with his phone, taking calls in private, and being oddly protective of his laptop. The warmth and intimacy that had characterized their early marriage began to fade, replaced by a cordial but distant relationship. Emma's fears were confirmed on an ordinary Tuesday afternoon in April 2006. Marcus had rushed out for a meeting, accidentally leaving his laptop at home. When a notification appeared on the screen, Emma's world tilted on its axis. The email was from Sophia Durand, a French investment banker they had met at a conference in Paris the previous year. Its contents left no doubt about the nature of Marcus and Sophia's relationship. They had been having an affair for months. As Emma sat in their home office, staring at the evidence of her husband's betrayal, a complex mix of emotions washed over her. Anger, hurt, and betrayal gave way to a cold, calculated resolve. Instead of confronting Marcus immediately, Emma began to formulate a plan. She would use her financial expertise and intimate knowledge of their business to orchestrate a revenge that would be both subtle and devastating. Over the next few weeks, Emma maintained a facade of normalcy while quietly beginning to lay the groundwork for her plan. She created a network of shell companies and offshore accounts, carefully hidden within the legitimate operations of Chen Consulting Group. As their company continued to grow and profits soared, Emma implemented a complex system of financial misdirection, siphoning off small amounts that would go unnoticed in the grand scheme of things. Emma also began cultivating her own network of professional contacts, independent of Marcus. She joined women's business organizations, attended industry conferences solo, and built a reputation as a financial powerhouse in her own right. These connections would prove invaluable in the years to come. Throughout this period, Emma played the role of the devoted wife perfectly. She attended social events on Marcus's arm, hosted dinner parties for their clients, and maintained their image as the perfect power couple. If Marcus noticed any change in her behavior, he gave no indication, too wrapped up in his own deceptions to recognize hers. As the years passed, Chen Consulting Group's success continued to grow, largely due to Emma's behind-the-scenes financial acumen. She used the company's expansion to create more opportunities for her careful embezzlement, always ensuring that the amounts were small enough to avoid detection but large enough to accumulate significantly over time. Emma's secret fortune grew steadily, carefully invested in a diverse portfolio under various aliases. She created a new identity, Sarah Pierce, complete with impeccable documentation, which she planned to use when the time came to make her exit. Even as she methodically prepared for her eventual departure, Emma remained patient, knowing that the best revenge would require time to fully mature. By 2010, Chen Consulting Group had become a major player in the financial technology sector. Marcus was hailed as a visionary leader, while Emma was respected for her financial expertise and philanthropic work. Their marriage, though lacking in warmth and intimacy, appeared strong to outside observers. Only Emma knew the truth that both their marriage and their company's success were built on a foundation of lies and betrayal. As Emma continued to execute her plan with meticulous precision, she sometimes wondered about the morality of her actions. But then she would overhear Marcus arranging another meeting with Sophia, or notice a new piece of jewelry he had bought for his mistress, and her resolve would strengthen. She had given 13 years of her life to building their success, and she was determined to claim her fair share, one carefully hidden transaction at a time. As Chen Consulting Group entered its second decade, Emma's plan continued to evolve. Her secret financial empire grew steadily, hidden beneath layers of legitimate transactions and clever accounting. She faced several close calls over the years, each one forcing her to refine her methods and strengthen her resolve. One such incident occurred in 2011 when Marcus decided to hire an external auditing firm for a routine review of the company's finances. The lead auditor, David Thompson, was known for his thoroughness and attention to detail. As he began his examination of the books, Emma realized he might uncover her carefully hidden transactions. Acting quickly, Emma orchestrated a series of distractions and complications that delayed the audit. She worked tirelessly behind the scenes to shore up any weaknesses in her financial smokescreen. When the audit resumed, Thompson found nothing amiss, though Emma spent several sleepless nights ensuring every detail was perfect. The success of Chen Consulting Group brought new challenges as well. Marcus, riding high on the company's reputation, began taking greater risks. He pushed for aggressive expansion into new markets and made several high-profile acquisitions. Emma used these opportunities to create even more sophisticated methods of diverting funds, always careful to ensure the company remained profitable and growing. In 2013, another complication arose when Marcus hired Lisa Henderson as the company's new chief operating officer. Lisa was sharp and detail-oriented, potentially threatening Emma's operations. Instead of seeing this as a setback, Emma turned it to her advantage. She took Lisa under her wing, becoming both a mentor and friend. This allowed Emma to subtly influence Lisa's focus and decisions, keeping her attention away from areas that might expose Emma's activities. Emma's personal life during these years was a carefully maintained facade. She attended charity galas with Marcus, hosted dinner parties for clients, and maintained their image as the perfect power couple. In private, their relationship had become a hollow shell, with both partners going through the motions for the sake of appearances. Marcus's affair with Sophia continued, though he grew increasingly careless about hiding it. Emma occasionally caught glimpses of their communications or overheard conversations, each discovery reinforcing her determination to see her plan through to its end. She used her knowledge of the affair to her advantage, scheduling business trips and social events in ways that gave Marcus opportunities to meet Sophia, thereby keeping him distracted and unsuspecting. By 2015, Emma's alternate identity as Sarah Pierce had taken on a life of its own. She had purchased a villa in the south of France through a series of shell companies, furnished it gradually over time, and established a small but respectable social circle in the area. She made several trips there under the guise of business travel, slowly building the foundation for her future life. The strain of living a double life began to take its toll on Emma. She suffered from occasional insomnia and anxiety, though she was careful never to let these signs show. She maintained her physical appearance meticulously, aware that any change might draw unwanted attention. Her weekly tennis games and yoga sessions became not just exercise but a form of therapy, helping her manage the stress of her deception. As the company approached its 15th anniversary in 2016, Emma began to prepare for the final phase of her plan. The financial technology sector was at its peak, and Chen Consulting Group was valued at an all-time high. Emma knew the time would soon come to make her exit, but she had to ensure every detail was perfect. She began to subtly distance herself from day-to-day operations, citing a desire to focus more on the company's charitable foundation. This gradual withdrawal served multiple purposes. It gave her more time to finalize her preparations, created a plausible reason for her eventual disappearance, and made the company less dependent on her presence. Emma also started to plant seeds of doubt about the company's future prospects among key investors and industry analysts. She used her network of contacts to spread subtle concerns about market saturation and potential regulatory changes. These rumors, combined with her planned disappearance, would create a perfect storm that would bring the company to its knees. Throughout 2017, Emma methodically transferred her hidden assets to various accounts controlled by her Sarah Pierce identity. She converted significant portions into untraceable cryptocurrencies and invested in art and precious gems, portable forms of wealth that would be easier to move once she made her exit. Marcus, consumed by the company's success and his relationship with Sophia, remained oblivious to Emma's machinations. His ego had grown with the company's success, making him increasingly dismissive of potential risks or problems. He began to take Emma's contributions for granted, often taking credit for her ideas and strategies in public forums. In early 2018, Emma initiated the final stages of her plan. She began to express feelings of burnout to friends and colleagues, talking about her need for a break and her desire to find herself. She took more frequent trips to Europe, ostensibly for business and charity work, but actually to make final preparations for her new life. As winter turned to spring, Emma carefully removed personal items from their home, a few at a time, sending them ahead to her villa in France. She donated much of her designer wardrobe to charity, replacing it with new clothes more suited to her future identity. She slowly emptied her safe deposit boxes, converted jewelry into cash, and tied up loose ends. The strain of maintaining her deception for so long had changed Emma. The naive, ambitious young woman who had fallen in love with Marcus was gone, replaced by someone harder and more cynical. Yet as she neared the end of her plan, Emma felt a growing sense of anticipation. Soon, very soon, she would be free to start her new life, leaving Marcus to face the consequences of his betrayal. As 2018 drew to a close, Emma knew that the next year would bring the culmination of her careful planning. Chen Consulting Group was at its zenith. Marcus was more arrogant and unfaithful than ever, and her escape route was fully prepared. All that remained was to set in motion the final acts of her elaborate revenge. January 2019 dawned cold and clear in Boston, and with it came the beginning of the end for Chen Consulting Group. Emma had chosen the new year as the starting point for the final phase of her plan. She began by implementing a series of seemingly minor changes in the company's financial practices, changes that would only show their true impact months later. Throughout the winter and early spring, Emma continued to lay the groundwork for her disappearance. She scheduled a series of business trips across Europe for June, a time when Boston's social calendar was busy enough that her absence wouldn't immediately raise suspicions. She also began to subtly withdraw from their social circles, turning down invitations and slowly reducing her public appearances with Marcus. Marcus, meanwhile, was riding high on the company's success. He had recently been featured in several prominent business magazines, hailed as a visionary leader in financial technology. His ego, already substantial, swelled further with each accolade. He spent more time with Sophia, growing increasingly careless about hiding their relationship. In April, Emma orchestrated a minor crisis at the company's London office, one that required Marcus's personal attention. As she had anticipated, he jumped at the chance to spend time in Europe, where he could also meet with Sophia. Emma used his absence to finalize her preparations, ensuring that every detail of her plan was in place. May brought a series of strategic moves that Emma had carefully planned. She initiated several high-risk investments on behalf of the company, actions that seemed sound on the surface but were designed to create vulnerability in the firm's financial structure. She also began to slowly transfer client accounts to other managers within the company, ensuring that her eventual absence wouldn't immediately disrupt day-to-day operations. As June approached, Emma put the final touches on her new identity. Sarah Pierce was now fully formed, with a complete background, credit history, and social media presence dating back several years. The villa in France was fully furnished and stocked, ready for its new occupant. Emma had also established connections in her new community through carefully orchestrated visits over the years. On June 15th, Emma boarded a flight to Paris, ostensibly for a 2-week European business trip. Her suitcase contained a carefully curated selection of clothes and personal items, nothing that would suggest she wasn't planning to return. She had scheduled meetings for the first few days of her trip, maintaining the illusion of a routine business journey. Back in Boston, Marcus was absorbed in preparations for a major client presentation. He barely registered Emma's departure, offering a distracted goodbye as she left for the airport. This lack of attention played perfectly into Emma's plans. 3 days into her trip, Emma activated the next phase of her plan. She stopped responding to emails and phone calls from the office. Her out-of-office message indicated she was in meetings, but as the hours turned into days, concern began to grow at Chen Consulting Group. On the 4th day, Marcus finally noticed something was wrong. His calls to Emma went straight to voicemail, and her hotel in Paris reported that she had checked out 2 days earlier. Initially annoyed rather than worried, Marcus assumed Emma was taking some unplanned personal time. As the week progressed, Emma's continued silence began to cause serious concern. Marcus was forced to file a missing persons report with both American and French authorities. The investigation quickly revealed that Emma had left her hotel in Paris and simply vanished. While the police searched for Emma, the carefully hidden financial irregularities at Chen Consulting Group began to surface. Without Emma's constant maintenance, the intricate web of transactions she had created started to unravel. Auditors, initially brought in to ensure the company's stability in Emma's absence, began to uncover discrepancies. By the end of June, the story of Emma's disappearance had hit the financial news. Speculation ran rampant, and Chen Consulting Group's stock price began to fluctuate wildly. Clients, nervous about the implications of the CFO's Vanishing Act, started to withdraw their accounts. In July, the full extent of the financial manipulation began to come to light. Investigators discovered a complex scheme of embezzlement that had been operating for years. The amounts involved were staggering, totaling hundreds of millions of dollars. The revelation sent shockwaves through the financial industry. Marcus, already reeling from Emma's disappearance, found himself at the center of a financial scandal. His relationship with Sophia became public knowledge, adding a salacious element to an already sensational story. Old friends and business associates quickly distanced themselves, leaving Marcus increasingly isolated. As summer turned to fall, Chen Consulting Group's reputation was in tatters. The company's stock price had plummeted, and many of its major clients had jumped ship. Marcus, once lauded as a financial genius, was now facing multiple investigations and the collapse of everything he had built. In a final twist of fate, evidence emerged suggesting that Marcus had been aware of and had benefited from the financial fraud. Whether this evidence was genuine or another part of Emma's intricate plan remained unclear, but its effect was devastating. Marcus found himself facing not just financial ruin, but potential criminal charges. By the end of 2019, Chen Consulting Group was bankrupt. Marcus, his health deteriorating under the stress, suffered a heart attack and was forced to step down from his position. His affair with Sophia ended acrimoniously, with her quickly distancing herself from the scandal. Meanwhile, in a quiet village in the south of France, Sarah Pierce was settling into her new life. She was known to her neighbors as a private but friendly widow who had moved to France to start a new chapter in her life. If anyone noticed her slight resemblance to the missing Emma Sullivan, they never mentioned it. Emma, now Sarah, sometimes reflected on the course her life had taken. The hurt and betrayal that had driven her to such elaborate revenge had faded, replaced by a calm acceptance of her new reality. She had achieved what she set out to do, orchestrating a revenge so complete that it had destroyed not just Marcus's marriage and reputation, but the very empire they had built together. As the years passed, the story of Emma Sullivan's disappearance and the collapse of Chen Consulting Group became a cautionary tale in financial circles. Some saw her as a criminal mastermind, others as a wronged woman who had taken spectacular revenge. The truth, as is often the case, lay somewhere in between. Emma had paid a high price for her revenge, sacrificing her identity and her past. Yet as she sat on the terrace of her villa, watching the Mediterranean sunset, she felt no regret. She had turned betrayal into freedom, and in doing so, had written her own ending to their story.